What's going on there, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for today's video, I wanted to go ahead and basically, kind of dedicate a whole video to the maps that we have within Battlefield 6, of course, for the beta only. Because I've been seeing a lot of people, especially in the comments all over Reddit, especially on Reddit, talking a whole lot of smack about the maps. And again, as usual, jumping to conclusion, It's kind of funny because I just got done putting together a video the other day, talking about how everybody jumped to conclusion on the gunplay, the movement, and now that the game is out, it's everything that counters what they were all arguing. And the same goes for the maps. I see tons of different, criticisms on Reddit. And pretty much every single one of them could be resolved by just saying, be patient and wait until the full launch of the game. But ladies and gentlemen, before going dive deep into the actual maps within Battlefield 6, I do want to showcase to you guys, we have finally hit a massive milestone for Battlefield 6. As you can see right here for the Steam charts, we have finally hit an all-time peak of 521,000 players. Now, keep in mind, this video is being recorded the day before it goes live. So this is being recorded on the 9th, and it's going to go live on the 10th. I have no clue what the player count's going to be looking like on Sunday. But as of around like 8 p.m. Eastern time, yeah, we're sitting at 521,000 individuals who have went ahead and tried out Battlefield 6. And it's even crazier because the users in the game right now was 420,000 people playing it at the current moment. I know people who are tuning into my stream who had to wait in like a 100 to 200,000 person queue, taking like 10, 15, 20 minutes to get into the game. That's how many people are pouring into the experience. I actually saw a post by Bob over on Twitter, and again, for anyone who doesn't know this individual, he is a leaker for the Call of Duty community. But he said, to be fair, a large amount of these people playing aren't buying the game and are only playing because it's free. And yes, that's literally true. A lot of people are just playing it because it's a brand new game in open beta. Battlefield's a pretty popular title. You can get in for free, so why not, right? So that makes sense. But when you look at COD beta numbers, Modern Warfare 2 beta peaked at 168K on Steam. Modern Warfare 3 at 186K, and BO6 at 157K. Modern Warfare 3 and BO6 beta numbers include COD HQ players as well. LOL. That is the most insane thing I could possibly think of. I'm pretty positive right now, in this very moment, Battlefield 6 has broken records for being the most played beta on Steam. It just blows my mind because we're in beta. This isn't even the full launch of the game. We don't have all the weapons. We don't have all the maps. We don't have all the content. We are in a beta. And people are just so ridiculously excited about this overall game. It just pumps me up personally, and it's awesome to see the love and support that is being pushed throughout the Battlefield community. But ladies and gentlemen, enough with that. Let's get into the map designs within Battlefield 6. Now, of course, as you guys already know, we're only going to be seeing 4 maps in total throughout both beta play sessions. So for the rest of this weekend, which I think today is the final day of the open beta for Battlefield 6 right now for the first week, we're only going to be having 3 maps. And then I think the New York map, I forget the exact name of it, is going to be added within the next play session that's coming up with the upcoming weekend. Now, within these maps, a lot of people are kind of salty at the moment because they are indeed pretty small. They're very infantry focused. And of course, although, vehicles are allowed on these maps, you could definitely feel the difference between the maps that we're playing now compared to the larger maps within the Battlefield franchise. But it seems that people are, claiming that this is now turning into Call of Duty. The map sizes are way too small. They make absolutely no sense. Nobody in Battlefield wants this. And now, I gotta be real with you guys, I'm kind of lost. First and foremost, within Battlefield 2042, along with Battlefield 5 as well, all people were begging for is more infantry-style maps. And every single time they present us with vehicle-based maps. Don't you guys remember Battlefield 5, where it took months to get even one singular map into the game? And then the first map that got introduced was a massive tank map, and everybody was just devastated. And then 2042 drops, and every map is large, open, tons of space, amazing for vehicles. But guess who got screwed? The infantry side of the game. All those players got absolutely manhandled. And here we are with maps that are definitely more infantry focused, that I think have a phenomenal flow. And the whole community is up in arms about it. Now, again, if these were going to be the sizes of all the maps within Battlefield 6, I would be up in arms too, you know what I'm saying? Because that just doesn't make any logical sense. But that's not the case. As you guys can actually see right here, this is going to be the lineup of all of the maps. And basically, throughout this whole, list here, there's more than likely going to be around like 4 small maps. And I would say it's going to be a mix for the rest of them because it's going to be 9 maps altogether. It's going to be a mix of around maybe 3 medium, 2 large, or, 2 medium, 3 large. And also on top of that, the devs already came out and confirmed, indeed, just like with that post I showcased to you guys, that all the beta maps are the smallest maps in the rotation. I am assuming it's for, a few, good reasons. One, it gets you right into the action, you can feel the gunplay, and it gives people, a chance to test all the variables of the game, weapons, vehicles, and you're not really looking for combat for 2 centuries, which is nothing wrong with that, right? But when you're in beta and you're trying to fine-tune everything as fast as possible for the launch of the game, you want people to be right there in the crap, right? They have to be getting tons of combat, tons of things got to be going on, so you can see all the bugs, all the glitches, all the problems. Secondly, I think it's the perfect situation to go ahead and stress test the game. Yeah, having big maps is great and all, but the best way to see the performance of your overall title is cramming all 64 players on smallish maps and letting all hell break loose. Destruction everywhere, explosions everywhere, people shooting everywhere, vehicles flying around everywhere. All of this on a condensed map is much more stressful, and it's harder to run, which again allows them to optimize the game correctly at a much faster rate than giving everybody big maps, and it's just simply not as much going on. And then thirdly, I think it's also good for the majority of players out there. Let's be real here, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to Battlefield, I mentioned this in previous videos, but I'll mention it again. Battlefield is a hard game to get into because people consider it a running simulator. When it's not, it really, truthfully, is not. Even on some of the biggest Battlefield maps out there, as long as you know how to rotate them, how to, work around your squad, get good spawns, you'll get into the action in a blink of an eye. But for newcomers trying to test out the game, which this game is trying to appeal to, right? This game is trying to bring in the core Battlefield community, plus some. They're trying to make this for a broader audience, whether you like that or not. That is their goal. And to do so, I think this is the best way of handling it. You have an open beta. Everybody's going to be trying it out, especially people who've never played Battlefield before. Would you rather those new players be turned away instantly because they don't want to go ahead and learn the map, so they're too stubborn to do so? Or would you rather give them all the smallest maps so they don't got to think too hard, they get right into the action, everything's very simplified, which will attract them, so when they, are actually invested in a Battlefield, then they'll branch out and, see the bigger maps and start to try to expand on their play style and learn the game a bit more. But those are the 3 main reasons why I feel like they chose the maps that they did within this beta. Now, there's good and bad. I listed all the good, but the bad is that people are a little worried because we haven't seen any of the larger maps and we don't even know what they're going to, end up looking like. They could be absolutely horrendous. They could be some of the worst large maps we have ever witnessed. But this is where I usually say the same exact thing. Patience is key. I said it when it came to movement, I said it when it came to gunplay, and I'm going to say it again when it comes down to the maps. I know everybody's very worried that we're not going to see anything in the rotation here, but until we get hands-on with every map in the rotation, how are we going to know? We already know that literally every map that is not in this playlist is going to be large, medium to large. We are playing the smallest maps, and for the smallest maps, these are still extremely solid. I'm actually going to go ahead and showcase this post I saw on Reddit because I think it's genius and it explains everything perfectly, as you can see right here from Jiggy. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to repeat this, and again, this is in a response to people saying the maps are too small. The maps in the beta are no smaller than any of the Metro, Underground, Devastation, Ziba Tower, Grand Bazaar, Pearl Market, Tala Market, Marita, Achibaba, Argonne Forest, Alamarge. Again, the list goes on. All absolute classic staples of the franchise. All of those maps are bangers. All of those maps are the maps that people are begging to return into Battlefield. People love the tight infantry combat of a Battlefield game. Shoot, one of the most popular DLCs ever is in Battlefield 3, the Close Quarters DLC. People loved it. It's one of the most well-known DLCs in Battlefield history. Even Battlefield 3 itself. People preach that it's one of the best games in the franchise, but Battlefield 3 was known for these infantry style of maps. Yes, you had some larger maps in the rotation, but a lot of them, and I mean a lot, were small to medium. Practically almost all of them were. And that is the same position that we are in right now when it comes to Battlefield 6. You have a handful of small, a decent amount of medium, and probably a couple, maybe a few of large right out the gate. And of course, as DLC comes out, they'll probably expand on that. But from what I'm seeing in this rotation with Battlefield 6, it's absolutely no difference than what we got back in the day with Battlefield 3 and the main lineup of those maps. Again, it just sucks because the main rotation right now is small, people aren't seeing any larger maps, and it's worrying them. But patience is key. The map layouts, in my opinion, are already extraordinarily solid, especially for the smaller maps, which makes me stupidly excited to see what the rest of the game is going to be like, along with all the destruction that we already have within this title. Don't give up just yet, ladies and gentlemen, and don't, again, assume until we actually see what's going to be presented to us, because we can talk the talk now, but just like with the movement, and just like with the gunplay, later down the road, we'll get to actually play them, and you never know, we might get proved wrong once again. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post daily here at 8 in the morning Eastern Time. Everything between Battlefield, COD, Splitgate 2, Ark Raiders. You best believe, as a lot of these games are coming up to their launch dates, and as new information comes out, new content, I cover it all on this channel. And sometimes we even go ahead and double upload at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So of course, like I said, subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, I do stream Monday through Saturday. But today, on Sunday, I will be live again, since obviously it's, beta for Battlefield 6. I'm going to be streaming as much as possible. If you guys are interested, you want to hang on out with me, you want to catch some good vibes or hop into the open lobbies, you can find a link to my Twitch channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.